All right, so it looks like on question 3, you forgot to fully use the product rule. So remember, um, we're going to treat this as, let's say, a function f of x. We're going to treat this piece as a function g of x. So your product rule states that you take the derivative of f of x times g of x plus f of x times the derivative of g of x. So the derivative of x squared, you have the 2, but you left off your x, is 2x, and then multiplied by g of x, which is just cotangent x, plus f of x, which is x squared, times the derivative of cotangent x. And the derivative of cotangent x is, you have that correct there, negative cosecant squared x. So then your final answer is just 2x cotangent x minus x squared cosecant squared x. So you were close, you were just missing a few pieces there. All right, so I'm going to do one similar to this one, just to give you an idea. So let's do x squared minus x to the 4th cosine x. So not the same problem, but fairly similar. So again, here it really looks like you just forgot to do the product rule. So x squared, derivative of that is 2x. And then now minus, I'm going to use brackets so I keep things straight. We're going to use the product rule for this piece. So this will be f of x, this will be g of x. So the derivative of x to the 4th is 4x cubed times cosine x plus f of x times the derivative of cosine x. And the derivative of cosine is negative sine x. So I'm going to make sure I put that's a negative right there. So then if I distribute this negative, I have 2x minus 4x cubed cosine x, negative times a negative, plus x to the 4th sine x. And that's all there is to it. I know, I'd say that that's all there is to it. That's a lot for one problem. Okay, so let's see here. So on this one, sine x, tangent x, not sure what you did on this one. I feel like you kind of just missed the product rule again, but let's give an example similar to that. So cosine x, tangent x. So again, product rule, derivative of cosine, negative sine x times tangent x, plus, and then cosine x times the derivative of tangent x, which is secant squared x. And it's fine like this. You don't need to further simplify unless you're going to be doing something else with the problem. Because I know you could rewrite this as 1 over cosine squared x, and kind of simplify that out a little bit. This would be sine over cosine, which really doesn't clean that up too much. So it's fine to leave it just like this. On these problems, I grade them myself anyway. So it's okay not to simplify unless it explicitly asks for it. All right, I did want to do one of these trickier type where we have to use the quotient rule. So let's get one similar again. Cotangent x divided by 1 minus cosecant x. So not exactly the same, but similar enough. So here we're going to be using the quotient rule. So I'm going to call the numerator f of x, and we'll call the denominator g of x. So your quotient rule is we take the derivative of the numerator, multiply it by the denominator, minus the numerator times the derivative of the denominator divided by the denominator squared. Okay, so the derivative of cotangent x is negative cosecant squared x and then that's going to be times 1 minus cosecant x minus, I'm going to take f of x. I always use big brackets here so I don't mess up on my sign, cotangent x, times the derivative of 1 minus cosecant x. Well, the derivative of 1 is 1. The derivative of cosecant x is negative cosecant x cotangent x. But we have a negative sign here, so that's going to be positive cosecant x cotangent x. I really wish I had left a little bit more space there. So cosecant x cotangent x. And then I'll write it a little neater in a second. And then divided by that squared. So let me get that out of the way a little bit. Okay, so we have negative cosecant squared x times 1, and then we have positive cosecant cubed x, and then minus cotangent x times cosecant x times cotangent x again. So I'm just going to put a square. That shouldn't have been kind of up there, but it's okay. No, it's not. It's going to bug me. Let's try again. Okay, so negative cotangent x, cotangent squared x, because I have 2 cosecant x, and then divided by 1 minus cosecant x squared. Yeah, we could factor out a cosecant x if we really wanted to. I don't see a big benefit to doing that. So that's simplified enough. So again, derivative of the numerator times the denominator minus the numerator times the derivative of the denominator, and then all divided by your denominator squared.